Alright, I'm playing some NBA 2K20 Blacktop 3v3. And one thing about NBA 2K games is that their menus have always been not the best designed. So it actually took me one or two tries to recognize that you have to pick players from alternating teams instead of picking all the players from one team and then all the players from the other team. But I mean, that's kind of like a tradition of 2K games, just having substandard menus and unintuitive layouts and whatnot. But I'm playing as the 3 stars of the NBA championship winning 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers, and we're facing the 3 stars of the Golden State Warriors, whom they faced in that final. So I'm playing on Superstar. I've had this game since Christmas, but I haven't really played it that much. I just don't really have the motivation to play through the game. I mostly just play on my career, and my player is at only rated 76 overall. The last NBA 2K game that I played, that I owned and played a fair amount, was NBA 2K16, and that was pretty enjoyable. And my character was on the Cavaliers. And then my player. And there was what was the name of the I forget the name of the campaign that was directed by Spike Lee. And I totally forget the name of it, but your character's name was Frequency Vibrations, and there was an actor from He Got Game, and then a handful of actors who played characters in that My Player story. They were in Spike Lee's movie Chirac that was released later that year. And speaking of Spike Lee, he is a long-time basketball fan, well-known supporter of the New York Knicks. And that team is... well, their owner has faced some criticism recently. I don't want to delve too much into that. But he does have a reputation for not being the most popular NBA owner. But going back to Spike Lee, there is a movie on Netflix that he's directed, Da 5 Bloods, and it's gotten pretty good reviews. I think I'm gonna check it out. And its message and its setting seems very, to quote Jeremy Johns, the YouTube movie reviewer, the content is very timely and timeless. It has to do with hate and harboring resentment. And so originally I thought it was like a documentary, but it's a fictional movie that follows a handful of black veterans of the Vietnam War. And it reminds me of the 1984 book Bloods by Terry Wallace. And for those of you who don't know, Bloods is a term that black servicemen used to refer to themselves during the Vietnam War era. And Terry Wallace's book is a collection of first-person accounts from various service members. So he interviewed black service members from all branches, all ranks, all different backgrounds, all different job types. And it was really, really engaging to read. Like, you can read, an account within, I would say, 15 minutes to half an hour. So it's not something that like is a slog to get through. And I've probably read it like 5 or 6 times. So I really recommend it. It's called Bloods by Terry Wallace. Let me see if I can get the official book name. But while I'm searching for that, I was watching PTI or I was listening to the PTI podcast yesterday, so today's Sunday, June 21st. And I was surprised to learn that Friday, June 19th was the 4-year anniversary of the 2016 NBA Final, which was an amazing series, and it was capped by like a great game. I still remember just that chase down block that LeBron made on Iguodala. And J.R. Smith definitely deserves some credit for the defensive assist, altering Iguodala's shot, just giving LeBron just enough time to make that block, and then Kyrie Irving with the step back three in Curry's face to give the Cavaliers the lead, and then Curry's final shot. Kevin Love actually played pretty good defense on that shot attempt. That was like I said, such a great series. The Cavs coming back from a 3-1 deficit. You don't really see that very often in the NBA. I mean, in the NHL certainly, but in the NBA. So I pump fake Draymond Green out of his sneakers there. And he played a pivotal role, like getting ejected, getting that technical foul. That, I think, and a lot of people agree, that really altered the course of the series. But you got to give LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, and the rest of the Cavaliers team credit for coming back. In 2016, that year was like a year of improbable results. I mean, like, I don't know if that had ever happened before. A team in the NBA playoffs, let alone the NBA Finals, had come back from a 3-1 deficit. But also, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series that year, breaking that long drought that people refer to as a quote-unquote curse. You also had Leicester City winning the Premier title that year. Like, that rags to riches story is pretty incredible if you think about it. I mean, I think they were in the championship, or like the league below the Premier League the season prior. And then you had like N'Golo Kante, who would come from obscurity, Jamie Vardy, who had a journeyman career before that, and then you had Kasper Schmeichel, the son of the great Peter Schmeichel. So just those three sports stories. I mean, not to get too political, but you also had in that year, you had the Brexit results and the result of the U.S. presidential election. Like 2016, looking back, was a year of, like I said, unexpected outcomes and results, and not just in sports. But it's kind of hard to believe that the My Player mode in NBA 2K has been around for 10 years. I started this YouTube channel around that time, playing NBA 2K10, Modern Warfare 2. And then you got the next generation of consoles coming around the corner. EA has released new trailers for Madden 21. They also had a combined trailer for FIFA 21 and Madden 21 that they posted on YouTube like yesterday or early today. And I think about a month ago, EA and the NFL announced that they're renewing their exclusive license, although I guess apparently 2K can still make football games that aren't simulation. I mean,
oh wow, nice reverse layup.
it's a great reverse layup by Kyrie Irving. So I'm just like disappointed. I know a lot of people are disappointed that for at least for the next several years we won't ever see another 2K developed football game. And I remember like just reading, gaming magazines about how whenever a new console launched, there had to be, you know, a football game, there had to be a racing game, but that's not really the case anymore because football as a sport in general has, at least in terms of like participation, has dropped.
No, fuck.
Interest in
Nice, nice. Let's go.
video game football has dropped. I mean, I remember making footballs for NCAA football, videos for NCAA football, and I had a good time doing it, but it's just
There we go. Fuck.
it's just the state of video game sports. You just got like one developer, one publisher
Nice.
that dominates each sport. I mean, 2K used to have hockey games, and I don't know.
Oh, come on, man.
I would love to see, like, obviously, at 2K making a simulation football game. Doesn't have to be pro football. It could be, you know, NCAA football. But one thing I've always wanted is like a high school football game that's modeled after Friday Night Lights. It would be like a role-playing game. So your players are characters and you develop, and that would give you a lot of freedom. You could implement personalities. You could include some of like controversies. You could, I don't know. I just have so many ideas.
Oh, yes.
But one thing I think, at least in terms of video game football, they should make the characters, like they should view their characters like racing cars, right? Where you have dedicated buttons for accelerating, decelerating, handbraking, or in the case of players, making foot plants. I wouldn't mind seeing a hockey game, another 2K hockey game.
Oh,
So this,
oh, good defense.
yeah, Kevin Love,
Yeah.
3 times in a row, then he grabs a rebound. I'm just going back to like,
Step.
for the next generation of consoles, will, at least for sports titles, will 2K and EA, will they continue that annual release model, or will they kind of shift toward the games as a service model, in which they release a base game and then
Kevin Love with the defense.
regularly sell roster updates? Because I think that might actually be more profitable in the long term for those companies.
Oh, bad shot, bad shot.
Like just going the route of like Fortnite and
No. Defensive
Modern
mismatch.
Warfare. Gosh.
Let's just finish it.
Yeah, so one thing I know it's kind of a long shot, but for the next generation of sports games, in terms of
Game point.
control, I really like it if you could like control every aspect of your player. So imagine if you're playing a football game, you have to like
Oh shit! No, I got beat.
press 2 buttons to raise your arms and then press another button to catch the ball, right? That would be so cool. And like having to manually plant your foot in order to get more power from your football throws.
Kevin Love.
That'd be dope. Kevin Love finishes the game with a dunk. Kind of rambled all over the place. So many topics, but June 19th.